I will define my ABC method of recognizing denominator patterns, then roll the dice to get students to respond. The first time you get your students to respond, only ask them for the letter that states the number pattern. Then, as the students gain proficiency at that, I will ask for the denominator they would use if they were adding those fractions. If they get stuck, I will offer the letter that names that style as a hint. You will find that the student learns this part of the lesson at a lightning pace. This lesson does include the vocabulary words LCM, which stands for least common multiple, and LCD, which stands for lowest common denominator. Textbooks are famous for asking students to name the LCM for a number pair, but the students don't really know why they are asked that question. For example, what is the LCM for 8 and 10? It turns out to be 40. The reason for why they should learn that skill is because it helps them find the lowest common denominator if they had to use that number pair as the denominators and their fractions to be added. If they're adding fractions that had 8 and 10 as the denominators, they would use 40 for the lowest common denominator instead of 80. It would keep the numbers smaller as you work through the problem, and there wouldn't be so much at the end for reducing to lowest terms. That still does happen, and you have to be prepared for it when it does occur. There are only 3 things that happen when you add fractions, and these are based on the relationship of the denominators. The denominators will have only 3 types of relationships that I call A, B, and C. In the A style, the denominator numbers have absolutely no relationship. They have nothing to do with each other. Example, 1/2 plus 1/3. 2 doesn't go into 3, nor does 3 go into 2. The only possible denominator you can use is 6, their product. In the B style, the denominator's numbers have a relationship. You will notice that one of the denominators goes into the other denominator. Let's take 1/4 plus 1/12. Since 4 goes into 12, I would teach you to choose 12 as the lowest common denominator. There are other examples I could quickly name, such as 5 into 15, 8 into 16, 2 into 4, 2 into 8, etc. So whenever one number goes into another number, it's a B style, and you simply choose the larger of the 2 denominators to use as the common denominator for that math problem. In the C style, the denominators do have a limited relationship. First, we will use 1/4 plus 1/6 as an example. Notice that 4 doesn't go into 6, nor does 6 go into 4, but there does exist a number smaller than their product that 4 and 6 both go into, namely 12. Therefore, use 12. You could use 24, but for the entire time you're solving the problem, the actual numbers you would be working with would be larger than necessary, and you would have a lot of reducing to get to the lowest terms at the end of the problem. I'm going to roll a couple of these dice. Now see how the 3 goes into the 12? That would be a B style, wouldn't it? Because 3 goes into 12, we'd use 12 as the common denominator. Okay, then we're going to roll again. 3 goes into 6, and so that's a B style, and now you'll start to respond. What would this be?
B style.
Good, because 3 goes into 12. And then what would this be? Oops, sorry. B style, because 2 goes into 12. And then what would this be? An A style. So you'll use the product 3 times 4 is 12 as the common denominator. And then what would this be?
B
B style. Okay. And then we'll do a couple more. That one's too easy. And then how about that one?
B style.
Okay, and I'm going to bring in this one for a little more variety.
B style.
Very good.
C style.
Very good. Here is the practice set. First, only tell me A, B, or C. I'm going to start by rolling from the egg crate fractions. That's too easy, they're both the same denominator. That's a B style because 3 goes into 6. This is a C style. You could use 24, but since both 4 and 6 go into 12, you'll use the 12. This is a B style. And that is a B style. I can make up one more just to get some variety. That would be an A style fraction. Okay, now that we've done that, we will start to do the same rolling of the dice in pairs. However, this time the student will be naming the denominator. And so, if the student gets stuck, then I would prompt by giving the alphabet that explains it. So for example, this common denominator would be 12. 12 comes up a lot for the egg crate fractions. Now, the next thing that's going to happen is I'm not going to ask for the ABC, I'm going to ask for the actual number you would use as a denominator. Now, mind you, I would tell you in advance, when we're working with only the egg crate style fractions, the halves, thirds, fourths, 6, and 12s, the number 12 will come up a lot, so don't be surprised, it comes up a lot. So I'll start to roll these. What would the common denominator be there?
12.
Very good. What would the common denominator be there?
12.
Very good. What would the common denominator be here?
12.
See, I said 12 comes up a lot. And how about this one?
12.
Okay, and then let me kind of manipulate it so I can get some variety here. What would this common denominator be?
4.
4. Very good, because 2 goes into 4. What would this common denominator be?
6.
Good, because that's an A style. Then we can bring in the other dice. This is a C style fraction, so we'd use 20 instead of 40. This is also a C style fraction. We could use 48, but we use 24 instead because 6 and 8 go into 24. That common denominator would be 30. Repetition of the 6 and 8. Repetition is good. We would use 24. That's a C style. That's an A style, so the denominator would be 30.